That's right. It's your average Joes bringing your fantasy thunder once again. Can you smell what the Joes are cooking? Can you smell it, Dave? Can you smell it?
Hey, I like that. I like
Yeah. I
that.
smell it and it smells so good. It smells so good. All right, man. Well, I want to thank everybody once again for coming back and being with us this evening. I am your host, Oli, along with my main man, Dave Allen, on the mic. If you haven't heard the last couple of weeks, we let him off the no Tonio Brown hook here since Antonio Brown is having some troubles. I don't think that issue is going to come back and affect him this year. I think he'll be fine, but this lawsuit possibly could affect him next year, so it may be a delayed Madden curse, right?
Yeah. That's what I'm. No, I don't. This sounds terrible. I'm gonna say that's what I'm hoping for. I don't want the guy to be in any trouble, but as far as for my curse,
Well,
yeah, it
yeah,
might
I
be a
mean,
delay. It
look,
might
when you
be
do
that.
silly things like that, you're inviting trouble. And don't get me wrong, I don't think what he did was bad. Was it one of those suspendable things? I don't know, but the parent or grandparent or whatever, they're gonna have to play it up a little bit. They're gonna have to do a little bit of Friday with Chris Tucker. My neck and my back. My kid every
Yeah.
time he comes out down the stairs and sees a piece of furniture, he sees the couch, he jumps into a fit. He has to, starts crying,
Oh
throwing
my
up.
goodness.
He sees a vase and it's over. So he has to play it up to get this lawsuit through. But yeah, man. So we'll see what happens with Antonio Brown. He should be good for this year, but perhaps Dave called a delayed Madden curse. We'll see. Well, listen, we want to thank everybody for coming back out and visiting with us this evening and listening to the podcast. Once again, we appreciate every single one of you guys. We don't want you to think that we don't. Want to appreciate the people who say we appreciate the people behind the scenes who are helping to get the word out about the podcast. So continue to come back and visit with us. It means the world to us. Again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and definitely comment. Be interactive with us. We are here to help you guys out with your starts and sits. If you just need an extra thought or opinion on what you want to do, we are here for you guys. You can visit us here and speak with us on YouTube. Visit us on Instagram, Average Joe's Fantasy Football Podcast, _ between each word. And on Facebook, we have a Facebook group, The Average Joe's Fantasy Football Podcast. We do answer questions during the games and also during the week. So please do visit us and comment and be interactive with us. Speaking of being interactive, we have another winner of the Hers Creamy Ranch Habanero Chips contest we have every week, so to speak. And I think the
Yeah.
winner here is, if I have his name correct, Damian Armitage. Damian Armitage. So please go ahead. I left you a message on the YouTube channel to leave us to email us your information so we can send you out your prize. And we'll continue on with this until I get everyone in America a bag of these chips. So you got to come and answer the question. Come answer the question of the week. We'll have a new one this upcoming Monday. But I'm going to get these. This will be the most popular chip by the time I'm done, Dave.
and they should send out some kind of thing to thank us for
Yeah.
for you getting these out on that. I actually had the other guy that answered the question correctly is actually a buddy of mine, and he messaged me.
Okay.
I told him, hey, you were a little late.
Yeah,
He was
yeah,
like,
number
come on,
two.
just send. Yeah, he was like, just send 2 bags. I said,
Well,
we
tell
can't
them to
do it
come
that
back
way,
next
man.
week and answer the question first. And we got to make it harder next week because this one was a little bit too easy.
Oh, yeah.
We had 2 people jump on it right away. So we'll make it a little bit harder next week. But, yeah, keep coming back, answer the question. You'll get these chips. And trust me, if you like it a little bit spicy, they're amazing. Hers Creamy Ranch Habanero. I love those chips. Anyhow, so we'll have a new question of the week on this upcoming Monday. Yeah, we got a big show, man. As always, we'll try to get it done in under an hour. Got football tonight. Always makes it awesome. We're gonna go over the week 8 preview. talk about a few news, notes, injuries, things of that nature, give you the starts of the week, a sit of the week, and we're going to do one of our favorite segments. I'm sitting them, so you start them. Tonight we'll go through that, and you guys will be able to enjoy that and hopefully be able to capitalize off of our misfortune. So let's go ahead and start with the Week 8 preview. We'll go through a few games here. Let's talk about the Eagles and the Jags. Now, the Jags, surprisingly, they haven't been as staunch on defense as we were thinking. We've heard of some locker room issues going on right now. Do you think they could get on track against the Eagles?
I sure hope not. But I think
Homer.
I think that this, yeah, definitely for my Eagles, I hope they don't do it. But I think they have every opportunity to do it. The Eagles are very, very banged up this week. They put Derek Barnett on injury reserve today.
Okay.
So they got a lot of injuries. Cornerback Sidney Jones is out, bringing up a corner from practice squad. But Blake Bortles undefeated in London. If I'm pretty sure I have that correctly.
He's the greatest quarterback of all time in London.
Yeah. They love him over there. That's their version of Joe Montana and all those guys.
Oh man,
Blake Bortles is right
number
there for
one
them.
jersey sales in London, right?
Absolutely. So if he can, this is a perfect chance for him to go to I guess a home game for them.
So to speak, possibly.
A perfect chance for him to turn it around.
So early in the morning, the opposing cornerbacks can't see the ball to catch it, so they can't intercept him, I suppose. I don't know, but apparently he's the man over there. Yeah, that's an early start for us, though, man. It's like 9:30 in the morning, so you figure they got to get up around, 6 to start getting ready? Maybe 5?
It's right, super early. I know that, and I think that maybe that's one of the, like you said, it's one of the things that just doesn't get to Blake. Maybe he's just a natural early riser.
Yeah, that might be it. That might be it.
But, so.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just, I was just looking. One thing I did kind of notice, even though Derek Barnett, that this is going to kind of sway my step a little bit because I got these obviously before he was put out. But the Eagles are only allowing 86 rushing yards a game.
Okay.
So that's a big, hit to TJ Yeldon as moving forward and possibly our first dose of Carlos Hyde.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. I'm glad you brought that up. What do you think the split will look like? Do you think, look, a couple of years ago, a year ago, as a matter of fact, I was talking with a friend of mine. We were talking about Adrian Peterson, who, for the life of me, forgot where he went. The other was it Arizona? Was it Arizona? Was it Arizona? It was Arizona. Okay.
It was Saints first, and then he went to Arizona. Yeah.
And he was going to Arizona, and I said to him, "Look, you can't start Adrian Peterson. He's just getting into Arizona. He has to learn the playbook. He has to learn their blocking schemes." Said Oliver, running backs are different. You hand him the ball and tell him what hole to run through, and that's it. You learn a different terminology with a toss sweep or whatever for this group, but you can plug a running back in. And that first game, he went off for like 120-something yards or whatever. Do you think that can translate over to a guy like Hyde? Can he run right into that Leonard Fournette role right off the bat, and they could put Yeldon kind of back to that off-pace running back role where they like him to be? Or do you still see this as Yeldon's backfield until Leonard gets back?
For me, it would be a prove it thing. I don't think Carlos Hyde can't do it.
Okay.
I don't think he will do it this first game back, and I don't think it really mattered who they would have played. It's not, because it's the Eagles. I just think first game, because when he got traded, he didn't even get a week or anything to practice with him. He got traded. They had a game. So this was his first, even look into the playbook. But like your buddy said, I never looked at it that way for running backs. It's easier. However, comparing Carlos Hyde to Adrian Peterson, even at this level, at this age, it's quite a jump. So, yeah, I think Hyde, I won't say he can't get there to fill that role, but I don't think it will be this game. If I had to choose one of them to start for this game, I would still go with the Yeldon.
I mean, what do you see as Hyde's outlook going forward? I mean, assuming that, because we haven't gotten any news that Leonard Fournette is really out for the year or anything, I still think the expectation, maybe like Le'Veon Bell, maybe not coming to fruition ever, but it's for Leonard Fournette to come back here within the next week or 2 weeks. Hyde, don't get me wrong, not the most efficient back, not the best back out there, but he's not a backup running back. He is at least a split starter kind of a running back. What happens here? Does it kill everybody's value there in Jacksonville once Leonard Fournette's come back? I mean, can you not start Leonard Fournette when he comes back, or what do you think?
I'm under the impression for them making this move, I'm under the impression that Fournette is possibly done for the season. Obviously, that's just me, speculating. So nothing serious, but I just don't see, giving up what they not that they gave up anything crazy, but just giving up the draft picks that they did give up to acquire a starting running back.
Right.
That is kind of, like you just said, kind of, he doesn't really bring anything to the table that Fournette doesn't bring.
Right. So
acquiring the same kind of back makes me, it just makes me wonder, is Fournette, is his injury bigger than what you guys are leading on to say? I like Carlos Hyde's outlook rest of the season. I think that he will put up solid numbers. Like we just said, I think he will gradually become the number one running back there, because obviously T.J. Yeldon was not doing everything they wanted him to do.
Yeah, good for fantasy, but not probably good for real life football. I mean, he's a good running back.
Right.
He brings value to the team.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's not the every down back they want, like Leonard Fournette was kind of turning into. So,
right.
Yeah,
I don't think though. I don't think, real quick, I personally, I don't think we will see, as long as it's Carlos Hyde and Yeldon, I do not think we will see a guaranteed bell cow, whether it's Hyde or Yeldon. I think they will continue to split as the season goes on.
Okay. All right. Absolutely. Yeah. We can't spend too much more time there, but I can probably talk about that for another 10 or 15 minutes. So I really, this whole situation is interesting to me, being a Fournette owner.
Absolutely.
And yeah, it will make you think that possibly there's more going on than they're telling us with Fournette, or perhaps they're just frustrated with him kind of not being there. Sometimes it could be a competition thing. Hey, we brought a competent back in here, and maybe light a fire under Fournette. Get over this small injury. Don't get me wrong. Listen, it's an injury. I'm not going to say anything about his toughness or whatever, but there's some injuries you can, tough it out and play through. And maybe this is a warning shot. Hey, we'll get somebody else in here if you can't make it through these, soft tissue injuries and tough through these things, so our team can, succeed. I don't know. There's a lot of different nuances here, but we got to move on. Let's talk about the pass catches, man. Keelan Cole, is he droppable at this point in time? He's averaged 6.4 points per game. PPR points, by the way. PPR points over the last 4 games.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about? He was supposed to have a breakout season.
Right, and that's hurt me so much because I've been a Keelan Cole believer. I loved it, and I was actually looking today. I was looking at the waiver wire in one of my leagues, and him as well as how was it, Westbrook or Moncrief? Cameron, whichever one of them that's having the better year right now. I want to say Moncrief.
Both.
Was there.
If you really look at it over the last few games, both of them are doing a little better than Keelan Cole. Westbrook is probably having the best out of the 3.
Okay. Well, then it was probably Westbrook. Either or. It was deciding between one of them and Keelan, and I picked up Westbrook over Keelan because I just the targets aren't there really anymore, and it doesn't look like, I don't want to say talent isn't showing up because all those receivers are talented. I still believe Keelan Cole is the most talented, but for whatever reason, those other guys are just playing better. I do believe Keelan Cole is droppable. There are definitely other receivers out there that you can get and be more comfortable playing.
And I haven't broken down all these numbers and gotten too in depth, but it looks like he's doing, which is kind of strange because it's typically the opposite. He does a lot better on the outside than he does in the slot, and I don't know if they've been putting him in the slot a lot. So we'll have to kind of keep our eye on that. But he is definitely going from one of those people I was really high on that I actually, targeted in some of my drafts late round, a guy that I've been kind of putting in my lineup saying, hey, it'll happen this week, it'll happen this week, it'll happen this week. And now he's finally having just to go to my bench. I'm not dropping him just yet. Want to see what happens because there was a comment actually this week from another player in the league, Malcolm Jenkins, who said, the situation in Jacksonville, talking about the QB situation, is the exact reason that Colin Kaepernick should have a job. Now, I'm not going to get into politics and all the rest of that great stuff here. I certainly think that he should have a job in the NFL. But perhaps those kinds of things and some of that locker room infighting, it can certainly be a distraction, but it can also, kick some people in the butt. Do you think that Bortles, now he has a home game, it's his favorite place to play, London, and there's been all this talk. Do you think he comes through this week?
I want to say yes. But even with this game, I don't know if he comes through enough that makes for whatever reason the coaching staff has this strong belief in him. That we don't really see or quite understand. Right. And I don't think he's going to do anything spectacular by any means for fantasy or for regular stats. I think it will be just enough to beat out Cody Kessler, since that's his only competition there. I think if there was a game to do it against a depleted defense in London where he's proved to do well, I think this would be his best opportunity.
All right. Let's talk about the Eagles a little bit here. The Eagles' backfield, it's one of the biggest messes that you've seen. You don't know who's going to get the majority of the snaps. I believe Smallwood was injured early in the week, but I think he's now coming off of that injury. They're saying he's going to play. From week to week, you can't tell who's going to be the person that's featured. What's your this is your account. What are you hearing? Who's going to get the run here?
It's looking like we're going to go. They're going to go with Corey Clement. Obviously, I mean that's the guy that they like. They're still going to split the backfield with him and Smallwood. We're still going to see little flashes of Josh Adams. To no surprise, Darren Sproles did not travel with the team to London, so he's not. He's not going to be in the mix. But yeah, that backfield it's just too muddled for me. And I know the Jaguars haven't played to the expectation that we all thought they would, but it's still the Jaguars.
Yeah, still good defense. Okay, so would you be willing to flex Smallwood at all?
This game, no. And it's a couple of reasons. Early games scare me personally. Early games and Monday night games are games where if I have tough decisions with players on those teams that are playing those nights, I sit them personally.
Okay.
If it's not a guaranteed start, I sit them just because, early Sunday I might not be up, this, that, and the third, whatever. So for me, this game, I don't feel comfortable flexing Smallwood. I'd have to look in a different direction.
Yeah, I feel much the same way, and I'll stay away from Clement as well. Wentz, back to looking elite, I would be certainly willing to, even against this Jacksonville Jaguars defense, willing to roll them. As a matter of fact, I think I'll mention them here in a little bit. I think he may have a pretty decent day. Pennsylvania may go overseas. We'll see. All right, let's talk about the Bucks and the Bengals. We've been talking about the Bengals a lot here because there's been a lot of fantasy points with them at the earliest part of the season anyhow. But Andy Dalton kind of burned us last week. He had a great matchup against Kansas City, but only came out with 7.9 fantasy points. Is he turning back into the old Dalton, or what do you think is going to happen here?
I don't think so. I think that game was just a unfortunate game. I actually heard a couple of things about Andy Dalton not playing good in primetime games.
Okay.
Kind of like the whole Ben Roethlisberger not playing good on the road. So you can take that for whatever it's worth. I personally love this matchup for Andy Dalton as well as for Jameis on the other side.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of injuries on both defenses. The Buccaneers lost their star linebacker Quan Alexander. He's on injury reserve. The Bengals lost, or Vontaze Burfict is hurt. I think he might be out. I know he's injured. I think he might be out. Let me see. I have it really quickly. He didn't practice yesterday, so monitor that as it goes. But either or, yeah, and Gerald McCoy is also on the injury list for the Buccaneers. So just with the injuries on both sides of the defense, I think we're going to see a lot of points in this game, fantasy-wise, a lot of fantasy points in this game. And I actually am with the decision of Andy Dalton or Brady this week in one of my lineups, and I'm actually going to go with Dalton over Brady. That's how confident. That's how confident I am that he's going to put up great numbers against the Buccaneers.
Okay. All right. So if you're that high on him, you have to like everyone on the Bengals side of the ball. Because I was going to ask if we're seeing the old Dalton, because we know that AJ Green is going to eat. Even in Dalton's year last year, where he was completely off, looked horrible, and even for AJ Green, who had up to his standards, kind of an off year, he still got over 1,000 yards receiving. So we know AJ Green's going to do what he's going to do. The question is Tyler Boyd. If Dalton doesn't, continue to have the hot hand like he had at the beginning of the year, what is the outlook for Tyler Boyd? Are you still comfortable with him, as he was looking like a wide receiver 2, super high end wide receiver 3 at least?
Yeah, I'm super comfortable with Tyler Boyd. I would have to see a couple more games out of Andy not producing, because at the end of the day, like you said, even if Andy Dalton's not having a good game, AJ Green will. Can't necessarily say that about Tyler Boyd yet. He's Andy Dalton dependent, obviously. So I would have to see a little bit more from Andy going on to go that far. But right now, this game especially, I like Uzama, Tyler, AJ, Joe. I like everybody on the Buccaneers side, Evans, Godwin, OJ. I mean, I like everything about this game.
I was going to ask that question. Well, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'll get to it in a second. Go ahead.
Yeah, just really quick. As they were saying right now, we might see some rain in this game. So monitoring that could definitely change a lot and make it sloppy. I don't know how bad it's going to be. So that could sway and definitely make me change my mind on a lot of things, especially when I'm excited about a quarterback. That excitement tends to go down when it's sloppy play.
Right, absolutely. I was going to ask about the Buccaneers, because Jameis Winston, he'll put up 300-plus yards just about every game. But the thing is, you never quite know who the beneficiary of all these yards is going to be. It could be Humphreys one week, it can be Evans one week, it could be Godwin one week. He might throw to the running backs one week. You never quite know. He doesn't seem to lock in on one favorite target. And the guy that he used to be his favorite target, Cameron Brate, hasn't quite been getting the targets that he was before with Jameis Winston, probably because O.J. Howard is there taking more than half the snaps. Who are you most comfortable with outside of Evans? Okay, you're going to roll Evans. You drafted him in the second round, like your third round. You're going to roll Evans. Outside of Evans, who are you most comfortable with putting in your starting lineup? Let's say between O.J. Howard, Deshaun Jackson, and Godwin.
O.J. And actually, for me, I can rank those. It would be O.J. Howard, Godwin, Deshaun Jackson for me.
Okay.
Deshaun Jackson is a huge boomer bust play for me.
Right.
I'm not as high as a lot of people are on him. He started the season off fantastic. I didn't think it was going to last. It hasn't. You can blame that on quarterback change, whatever.
I do blame it on quarterback change. I don't think Jameis has a overly accurate long ball. I think he has a great intermediate ball. He's a little bit more mobile than Fitzpatrick. I think overall a better quarterback, obviously, can take them further, but he's not super accurate on the long ball, which is fine. I mean, you think
Right.
about some of the most prolific offenses in history, let's say the San Francisco 49ers, they started the short ball era where your read started short to long. So they were just fine taking 7 yards a pass. They didn't have to throw the ball
Absolutely.
30 yards again, 30 yards per pass to make it work. They start their reads from short to long. So you can certainly make that work if you're accurate and if you have a really good scheme. And Jameis Winston has a great short game and intermediate game, and that's something that Fitzpatrick missed. He didn't have an intermediate game. It was bomb or nothing. So, yeah, I blame that totally
Right.
on the quarterback switch.
Yeah. No. Yeah. That can, you can attribute that as another reason why Jameis hits so many receivers, because of the fact that he's
Right.
not launching it. And you
Right.
have all this time and all these receivers. Receivers get tired. You're switching in and out. But yeah, so I like Godwin because they use him a lot in the red zone. He's a big target, tall target, and then obviously your Mike Evans. And then O.J. Howard has just been. Jameis has loved his tight ends as we've seen him play. Like you just said, it's been Cameron Brate. Now we've got this more athletic guy who's coming into his own, and Jameis loves him as well. Still going to give Cameron Brate touches where they are, but out of the three you gave me, I think I love O.J. Howard. I actually have Mike and O.J. on that same team with Andy and Tom, and I'm gonna start both of them. I think they'll both have productive games.
Nice. All right, yeah, I agree with those things. I think O.J. Howard actually looked at some of the stats. Not huge stat lines, but you can see his usage and his targets and his receptions per game look pretty solid. So anytime you can get targets for a tight end, that's a good thing. Interesting development.
What do you think about that backfield?
Thank you. I was getting ready to jump right on that. As a matter of fact, that was my next
sorry.
question. No. Thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah.
Between the two, I'm going with Rojo this week. Looks like Peyton Barber didn't practice yesterday, I don't believe. I haven't gotten the updated practice here for today just yet. But, again, it's one of those hard backfields to call.
Right.
Just as bad as the Eagles, as a matter of fact. I mean, in my mind, now it hasn't been quite the same situation, but you can't tell if they're completely giving it to Peyton or 1 week they're going to work Rojo in. Actually, Ronald Jones has looked somewhat competent in the passing game, which was the big knock on him at the beginning of the year. He got the touchdown last week. Peyton Barber has been a little bit banged up. I'm if between the two, I'm going to roll Rojo out there in one of my leagues. It's such a mess on my team. I have no choice. I have to play one of them. I have to play Barber or I have to play Rojo. I don't have another running back to stick in there right now. I'm going with Rojo. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. I think you gotta roll Ronald Jones out if you're looking at that particular situation following Peyton Barber, since he has it's an ankle injury. So like you said, yeah, he didn't practice yesterday. I also have not received anything about today, but just moving forward, if Peyton's not anywhere close to 100%, they're already splitting.
Right.
If he's not close, they're gonna give the majority of the workload to Ronald Jones. So coming out of that backfield, yeah, I would go with Ronald Jones over Peyton. And like you said, he's proved to be, he's proved everything that people were saying he couldn't do. He's kind of changing that narrative and proving to be what I think the Buccaneers drafted him for.
Excellent. Well, we'll hope that he can take that backfield over. Peyton Barber's success in that one game has not been that impressive. It was kind of a knock on Rojo, that on Ronald Jones, that he couldn't take that backfield over earlier, and perhaps this injury will be. Now, I mean, if the Bucs come out and say, hey, Peyton Barber's 100%, we're starting him, I'll switch that. But this week, if we're nursing an injury, they've shown that they're willing to put Ronald Jones out there. I'd be willing to go ahead and roll him out there. All right, let's go ahead and move on for the sake of time. We got a big game, a fun game coming, man. I like this one. I'm anxious to see what happens. Rams versus Green Bay. Like I said, this should be a fun one for us here. The question I have, though, is Jared Goff. For the first few weeks, he was looking like an elite quarterback, and I still think that about him. But over the last 2 weeks, a combined 404 yards passing. Combined, not each game, combined. What
My
do you think's
goodness.
happening
Wow.
here with Jared Goff? Is he someone you can still rely on?
Oh my. I think so. I still like Jared Goff. I actually like him this week. I like him more than Aaron Rodgers in this particular matchup. I'll get into that in a minute.
Wow.
But
Okay.
yeah, I think I don't want to say Cooper. Losing Cooper Kupp is a huge hit on him, but I think it is. They already don't really use their tight ends, and Cooper Kupp has shown to be that short yardage guy that can get the ball, turn it upfield, and rack up all these yards on the ground.
Yeah.
And then turning around and handing it to Todd Gurley, he takes it for 50, 60 yards.
Yeah.
So I mean, and when they throw it to him, it's usually in the red zone, so it's usually a touchdown. And for Robert Woods and Brandon Cooks, it's way down the field. So yeah, I think missing Cooper is definitely hurting his production. I think, though, with that being said, the Jared Goff being in I still think is a high-powered offense. I think they're still going to be. I think he's still going to be productive. I think even with this defense that they do have, since they're going up against an Aaron Rodgers, I think it will still be a competitive game. He'll still have to throw it. I mean, last game was just awful, and they were able to get into the run game pretty quickly. They killed the team they played. But, yeah, I still like Goff moving forward. I think he can still be productive.
Absolutely. Okay. Let me ask. I got a couple of either or. So let's say Goff or Mayfield. Mayfield's going against the Steelers.
Goff. I like Goff.
Goff or Alex Smith.
Redskins are up against.
Pretty decent matchup.
Oh, the Giants.
Yeah.
Give me Goff. I still like Goff.
Okay.
Still gotta go with Goff. Yep.
All right. Last one. I think I know the answer to this one because you just kind of answered it when we spoke about the quarterbacks for the Bucks and the Bengals. But I was going to ask you Goff or Andy Dalton.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Andy.
Yeah.
I'll roll out Andy there, but it's close.
Okay.
But it's closer than as much as I just was super excited about Andy Dalton. It is closer than you may think. Just because the Packers secondary is by far not anywhere near the best.
Right.
So I think I just would roll out with Dalton because his key pieces are healthy, and that threat of Todd Gurley back there kind of can cap Goff's production.
Okay. Yeah. Green Bay obviously with the great one back there. Aaron Rodgers can certainly score some points. So perhaps they have to go to the air just a little bit more to keep up with Green Bay. But speaking of Green Bay, it looks like Cobb is practicing again and has a chance to return. Now, as I'm speaking, in earlier episodes, you heard me say Aaron Rodgers can make any wide receiver core look decent. As long as they catch the ball, he can make them look competent and good. So we've seen, Marquez, Valdez, Scantling look pretty good for him at times. I think the other guy, Equinicius St. Brown, whatever, he's looked pretty decent with a couple of nice catches. But getting Cobb back, a guy that's comfortable with him, that he's known for the last several years, could be a big piece for him. Do you see Cobb having a big role coming back, or do you see that MVS possibly having done so well that it's going to eat into Cobb's production? What are you going to do with Randall Cobb?
Actually, I love this question because he was available on the waivers this week, and I snatched him up as soon as I found out he was practicing again. I don't want to say he's going to have a big fantasy day, but I do think he's going to help, or he's definitely going to have a huge role in the offense for Green Bay. Just having that rapport with Aaron Rodgers. You can see when Aaron Rodgers is out there doing certain plays. Yes, ESB and Marquez, they've been having good games, but there's certain quick little dump plays that they're just not clicking on. You can see Aaron Rodgers' frustration. It's visible. Basically, like, I wanted you to go here. Like, don't go. You don't have to go upfield. Just go straight there. And so with Cobb being back, that, just that veteran, that,
I know
being
what
together,
Aaron
they
wants.
know.
Right.
Right. I see this defense just like he sees it. I know where I need to go. So I think that's going to help Aaron Rodgers a lot, actually, and his production. So, yeah, I like the fact that Randall Cobb is coming back. I like it more for Rodgers than I do for Cobb.
Okay.
As far as a fantasy outlook.
Now, have you heard anything about Allison?
Yeah, so he was limited practice yesterday, and he also had a limited practice today as well. It's a hamstring injury. We've seen, the running backs dealing with it. So I haven't heard McCarthy say anything about his likeliness to play. McCarthy did come out and say that he believes Cobb will play, so that's, encouraging, but he didn't say anything about Allison. They're still monitoring that situation. So, he remained limited. Hopefully he doesn't have any setbacks and just something to look at as the week goes on to see about his ability to play come Sunday.
Okay. Hey, man, I really got to say this. I really like MVS, man. From what I've seen the last few weeks while, both Allison and Cobb were limited, he looks like he's going. They said the next man up. Perhaps he should just be the next man. I don't know what they're going to do with Cobb this year. Like you said, he is one of those veterans who's been with Aaron Rodgers. But you heard earlier on the year they're possibly looking to shop him. I don't know what may happen around possibly the trade deadline here. I doubt anything will happen, but I think he eats into someone's role a little bit. You can't keep a guy that talented off the field. I think MVS is going to start getting on the field a little bit more, even when the full-time starters return. And next year, I think someone needs to watch out. He'll be taking someone's spot. So be on the lookout for that, especially for your dynasty teams or keeper league. Well, probably not keepers, but dynasty. Anyhow, let's talk about this Green Bay backfield because this is another mess. Can you start Jones? Will you start Jones? Did you dare?
I don't want to start Jones. No, I do not want to start Jones. I don't want to. And actually, the other week they had a game. I didn't want to start any running backs in there, but I said if you had to start one of them, go with Montgomery. I can't remember how well he did or whatnot, but in this game, I don't want to start any of them. I don't even want to be in the position where if you had to. Like, I feel like if you're in that position where you have to, I need you to go make a trade or like, this is just not. Yeah, I don't think this is the matchup where you want anybody. The Rams they just continue to show like we're not gonna. This isn't that day where we're gonna mess up and let a running back go crazy. Like whatever week y'all think we're gonna do it. It's not this one. Like they keep proving it. So this just isn't. I don't want to run it back out of this one. I actually wrote here. Ndamukong Suh was I think limited yesterday, and I actually have written down no Suh, no problem. I don't think when we saw Aaron Donald go ridiculous. Which obviously Suh was there, but we've seen Aaron Donald do it without Suh. So I think the defensive line is legit. Obviously, I think Suh will play. I would try to avoid the Green Bay running backs at all costs if it's possible.
Yeah, you're not getting enough volume out of Williams. You're not getting enough volume for Jones. They're not using Jones in the passing game. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like if you give this man a little bit more work, you got a crazy look. 3 weeks ago, 5.9 yards per carry. 2 weeks ago, 5.7 yards per carry. In week 7 against, let me pull this up here real quickly. Who did they play week 7? Jeez, I kind of forgot. But another 5.6 yards per carry. The dude averages over 5 yards a carry. That is hard to do in any year in the NFL. It's hard to average over 5 yards a carry, but they will not give him enough carries to justify using him on your fantasy team. He is borderline droppable outside of the fact that you want to keep him in case Mike McCarthy gets his head out of his behind. Now, I understand you have Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? It's hard to not tell the great one to throw the ball 50 times a game. But you have a real asset here if they would stop saying, okay, and I heard a stat a couple of weeks ago, and this is maybe one of those, I'm not quite sure, new age, new generation stats, but they said that actually Aaron Jones is more efficient in pass protection than Williams this year so far. He was better, if just as good, if not better. So if he's showing, and I know that there was the game a couple of weeks ago where Jones did miss something in pass protection. It was visible. You can see it. Aaron Rodgers took a sack, and it kind of messed up the flow, and then they took Aaron Jones out for the rest of the first half, and they did put him back in that game. But even still, I mean, at a certain point, there's so much talent here, you can't hold a person back, and they just won't put him in the game. I seen an actual question here on one of the chat sites that I'm on. Aaron Jones or Mike Davis from the Seattle Seahawks, and I said, like, neither. I don't want to start either one of these guys. I guess you go Jones if you have to. I don't know.
I actually, you know what? I'm on the other side of the fence there with you there.
Okay.
If I had to choose between Aaron Jones and Mike Davis, I'd go with Davis this week just because the Lions' defense is so bad. I know they got Damon Harrison this week from the Giants, so that's obviously going to help. But, yeah, I agree with your first answer, neither. If I don't have to start either one of them, I don't want to start either one of them. But yeah, like you said, Aaron Jones, he's the best back they have. Like, it's obvious. Leave him on the field, give him, majority of the touches, majority of the work, and let him play. Because
Free Aaron Jones. Free Aaron Jones. Free Aaron Jones.
There you go. Stand outside of the party house and with picket signs and
free Aaron Jones.
Creamy Ranch habanero Curry's chips.
Right.
And just sit out there all day.
That's right. You show up, you get yourself a bag of Creamy Ranch. It's worth it. It's worth the trip. It's worth the airline ticket. Make sure you get there to get your Creamy Ranch habaneros, and let's free Aaron Jones together. Absolutely. All right, man. Let's move on, man. We got it for the second time. Let's go ahead and talk about New England real fast. You're starting everybody here. I'm gonna glance over that. I do want to ask this question here, though, because this can turn into a quick blowout, especially if Buffalo can't move the ball. They got Derek Anderson back there. There's no way they keep up in this game. I can't possibly see them keeping up in this game. Do you see a world where Kenyon Barner can have more points than James White?
No.
Okay.
I don't see it. Even in a blowout, I still can't see it. I think.
I mean, what if New England says, you know what, we're winning by 4 touchdowns. Let's not
sit our starters.
Yeah, not so much sit our starters, but let's not roll James White out there when he's our most reliable running back. I heard that on another podcast today. Do you think that's something a situation that could happen, or they just want to keep doing what they do?
Yeah, I mean it's possible. It's definitely possible if they're just whooping up on Buffalo like that to the point like we've already got Stoney hurt. There's really no point in risking James White. So yeah, I see it as a possibility. I also see this. James White does so much while he's in the game to where when they sit him, it doesn't even matter how much.
He already has 3 touchdowns, right?
Yeah. So,
okay.
It's either or. And you still also have the possibility of the Bills giving them a tough game. Not that the Bills will be close in winning, but maybe keeping the Patriots on the field long enough with their defense to the point where the Patriots don't get the chance to get a 30, 40-point lead, to where it does end up being maybe a 24-0 type of game, something like that. Because the Bills' defense isn't awful.
It's not bad.
An in-division, it's in an in-division game. They usually play the Patriots fairly well. Brady doesn't lose to them, but they play them fairly well. So, it can go either way. Like you said, though, you're starting your Patriots, obviously.
Yeah, he's starting them all. I think the biggest question would be, I would be willing to put Barner in a flex, or if you're in a really tough position, I'd even be willing to start him if you had to. I think he's going to get some run this game until they figure out what to do with Son Michel, who is out. We'll get to that in the news and notes segment. But a question people may have, if they had the stomach to hold on to Hogan. He had 12 points last week, a respectable flex number. Can you feel like you can roll him?
I want to say yes so badly. I really want you. I want you to be able to.
And the answer is no. Let's just go ahead, folks. Yeah. No. I wanted to ask the question just to get another opinion, but absolutely not. Gronk is coming back. I think that was a product of Gronk not being there. Gronk should be back this week. They're incorporating, once again, Josh Gordon. You got Edelman there. They'll be using James White out the backfield a lot more, which means a lot more passes to the running back. I do think James White gets an uptick in carries as well, but he'll get the pass out the backfield. I think Hogan is simply the odd man out here, and until I see another game, maybe even 2 games, I'm not rolling him. But speaking of, and I'm just moving on quickly here, unless you got something else on that, I want to talk about Buffalo one more time.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Too many of our surprises. We got finally, I was really high on Calvin Benjamin to begin the season. I was really high on him as being the only true option in Buffalo. Has not come to fruition at all. He, opened his big mouth and said, hey, if I had a better quarterback than Cam Newton, I could have been this and that and the third. And I don't know what it was, Lemony Snickets, or if it was, karma biting him in the butt. But you got a worse quarterback than Cam Newton, and he has been completely irrelevant all season long, but finally got double digits. Fantasy points here last week with Derek Anderson, who they brung off the street to play above Peterman, because Peterman just doesn't look like an NFL quarterback. However, with Derek Anderson back there, do you think Benjamin can possibly become, I don't want to say, not a emergency flex play?
I might be the wrong person to ask because I'm super biased against Kelvin Benjamin. I don't like him at all. In fantasy, I don't have any kind of. When I see his name, I automatically look elsewhere. I think for me, he's your Devante Parker. That's my Kelvin Benjamin. I just look away.
Oh man, I didn't want to talk about this. Since you brought it up, I picked Devante Parker off of waivers.
What?
Oh
my God!
Look, man, look. This is my league. I'm 2-5 in this league, and I'm looking on waivers for a little bit of help. And this is the one, again, I keep talking about the same one. You guys have been with us for a few weeks now. I drafted Leonard Fournette. I drafted Hogan. I drafted Marquise Goodwin, all in the top 6-7 rounds, and it's been a complete flop on that end. I'm 2-5. I'm looking for a spark, and I'm saying to myself, the Dolphins are depleted. They finally are getting, well, I think he's been a healthy scratch, but they're finally putting him back on the field to play. Maybe there's a spark here. With no other options, maybe they have to give him 10, 11 targets a game. I know Amendola's there. We're going to talk about him in a little while, but maybe they have to give him a bunch of targets. He has the talent. It's always been if he's on the freaking field. I picked him up, man. I picked him up.
Are you rolling him out tonight?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I have him on the bench. I want to see what happens. I want to see if he makes it A, through the game, B, if they start to target him. But he's one of those mid-season sleepers, if there's such a thing, that he can come out of nowhere. I'm gonna talk about another one here in a minute. But yeah, I picked him up, man, and I'm actually hopeful for the guy now that I have him on my team. I'm hopeful for the guy. I hope he stays away from being Pupless Parker and goes up there and balls out, man.
Do you like him if he? Real quick, if he gets traded before the trade deadline, say, I know the Eagles were looking at him. I'm sure there's a couple other teams. If he goes to a team like the Eagles, does that make you more excited, or are you still nervous about the fact of him?
No, I don't know if I like him beside Alshon Jeffrey.
Yeah,
But maybe another team. Perhaps it's all about him being on the field. If he's on the field,
right.
he's been semi productive. Actually, I can't even say that. I think I've seen plenty of flops out of him as well. But you've seen some games out of him where if he can start to put it together, he might break out and show that talent that he has. I don't know if him being a healthy scratch. Again, coaches play mind games all the time. And you have to. You have to find ways to motivate people, and certain people are motivated in different ways. Some people just go every day to do their job. I'm giving 110% no matter what. Some people need to have competition. Some people need to be disrespected. Some people need to be benched. Perhaps that was a motivating factor. No longer are you heir apparent just because you're the most talented wide receiver here. Doesn't mean I have to put you on the field. Perhaps Adam Gase knows what he's doing on that end. I doubt it because he can't tell who the best player on his team is, Kenyon Drake, but we're not going to get to that. That's a different time. That's a different game, different conversation. But maybe he knows how to motivate Devante. We'll see tonight. All right, man, let's move on. We've been going for an hour, and we still have 2 more segments. We got to get the news and notes. We got to do our starts and sits, and we got to do our I sit them so you start them. Let's go ahead through the news and notes real quick here. I want to start it off. A-Rob Robinson did not practice today. He has a groin injury. The groins and hamstrings have been running rampant here. It's like some kind of a disease going to the NFL. What do you think about the Bears' outlook? I really like Burton if he's not going to play.
Yeah, definitely. I'm talking about him in a segment later. Yeah, if Allen Robinson doesn't play, I love Burton, especially from what we saw last week.
Good deal. What do you got?
Just few things. One thing I wanted to note, the Ravens they have 5 corners that either were limited or did not practice yesterday. Wow. 5. Wow. And they're going against the Panthers, against Cam Newton. So if 2 or 3 of them are hurt, and that is including Jimmy Smith and Marlon Humphrey, so 2 starters. Brandon Carr is also in that. So just something to note. Already talked about majority of this stuff, guys, and Roy Freeman is still on the sidelines, so you can roll out your Phillip Lindsay.
Absolutely, yeah. I got a couple. We got McCoy, limited in practice, but still under concussion protocol. Watch that closely. Sonny Michel is out. We've already spoken about that with the Patriots. So look for the huge week from James White, and looks like he could probably flex Barner. Bilal Powell, sad news, man. Looks like he's going to be out with a possible career ending. I think it's a neck injury.
Yeah.
So it's sad to hear that about him. I really liked his game. I thought he was a better running back and produced better and gave more than the Jets let him. They never really wanted to give him the full role. And I think if he had an opportunity behind a decent offensive line, he was a good player. So hopefully wishing the best for him. Now, one note on this. This may be a little under the radar kind of a thing. Elijah McGuire is off of IR coming up next week. And his only competition is Isaiah Crowell. You may have another one of those very, very rare instances where you can get a mid-year sleeper. There's not a whole lot of them out there. I'd be stashing him on my bench, and don't bother going to our leagues to look. I've already looked.
I was actually searching for him this morning in a couple of leagues.
Okay.
He got picked up. He got snatched real quick in a couple of my leagues. So yeah, the Jets loved him. They were thinking about dropping or cutting Bilal Powell when they had him before he got injured. So definitely got to look at on that Bilal Powell news. Prayers are definitely out for him since it is a neck injury. They do expect him to make a full recovery. That came out today, so that's excellent news. He had surgery on his neck and is expected to have a full recovery, so that's great. Last thing I wanted to note, Marlon Mack did not practice today.
Yeah, again.
It was limited yesterday with an ankle injury and is downgraded to out today. Like we said last week with the DeAndre Hopkins situation, moving in the wrong direction. Granted, DeAndre did play. Only difference is Marlon has been injured time and time again. So definitely, and I know a lot of people spent a lot of fab on him, made trades for him. So this is definitely hurts to see.
Yeah, that's another tough one. Hopefully he'll be able to play, man. After that huge game, you want to see if this is fact or fiction, so to speak, with his huge game there, and see what they can do with the Colts with a decent running game. So hopefully he does make it back. Piece of news here: Jags cornerbacks also, kind of like you mentioned about the Ravens there. Two of their cornerbacks are hurt. Starting quarterbacks are hurt. Now, I think they're going to play. However, if you're going up against Carson Wentz and you're not 100%, that can spell bad news for you. We already spoke about Cooper Kupp. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, for that Jags cornerback situation, A.J. Bouye did not travel with the team to London.
Oh, wow. He's out.
Yeah. Yep.
For already struggling defense, that's tough. Okay.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So Carson Wentz just moved up the board a few spots. Oh, man, I may have to put – he's going to be I'll tell you, he's my co-star of the week all of a sudden. All right, cool deal. And last piece of news here. You know what? I'm going to say that. Yeah, Kupp's doubtful. Chris Thompson. Looks like he's hopeful to play, but, you know, he's been injured the last few weeks as well. So monitor that with your Adrian Peterson. Let's go ahead, man, and talk about our starts of the week. I'll let you go ahead and start off with the quarterback. Hopefully you don't snipe me.
I think we can name this our sniping segment. This might be the sniping segment. My start of the week is Andrew Luck this week going against the Oakland Raiders. Multiple touchdowns in all his games except for one where he threw one touchdown. The Raiders are giving up more than 200 yards in the air every game so far this season, and they're also giving up multiple touchdowns to quarterbacks this year, except for one of their games. Andrew Luck has continued to have high passing rates as far as a lot of attempts.
Right.
So I think, T.Y. Hilton's back, and especially if this Marlon Mack news, if he doesn't play, that's more passing attempts for him. So I love Andrew Luck.
Last week, Andrew Luck only threw, I believe, 23 passing attempts. That's probably because of Marlon Mack in the big game. I mean, but do you think let's say Marlon Mack makes it, he plays, and perhaps this running game gets a little bit of a jump start. Do you start to see, Andrew Luck throw a lot less?
I think you can see that. I think that they want to go with Andrew Luck. They obviously want to use him, and we've seen that through the beginning of the games. And I think, like we both just stated, it was attributed to Marlon Mack. So I think if Marlon Mack is playing and is healthy, that we won't be seeing 50, 60 pass attempts.
Right.
I also don't think we'll be seeing 20 pass attempts. I think Andrew Luck is going to be in the 30s range, mid-30s range on an average game. But I still think we're going to see a good amount of passes out of Luck.
Okay, all right. My star of the week is Alex Smith, and this is a first for me. I'm a 49ers fan. I really like Alex Smith's game to an extent, depending on the team around him. But he's playing the Giants, who have not been stellar on defense. They've given up some huge games to a few different teams here. I was looking actually. There's 33 points to the Saints. They gave up 31 points to the Carolina Panthers. I believe 33 points to the Panthers. Had 34 points to the Eagles. Had an okay game last week against the Falcons, 23 points there. But you can put up points against this Giants defense. They're not quite. I think they're a little better against the running game than the passing game. If I'm not mistaken, they just gave up their nickel cornerback Eli Apple in
Yeah.
a trade to the Saints.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. They traded from the Saints, so I like Alex Smith this week, and then I just also mentioned Carson Wentz. I like him as well this week, man, because if Bouye is not going to be there, this could be open season, man.
Definitely. Yeah, that definitely opens it up.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll go ahead with my running back here. I say him every week, but I'm consistent. I'm consistent at least. I'm going with my man David Johnson here against the
Oh,
49ers.
it's a sniper.
Hey, got him.
It's a
I think
sniper.
I'm gonna win tonight. I'm gonna win the snipe game tonight because I don't think you're gonna get me the rest of the way, man. I think that I've really put together some under the radar guys. So yeah. I caught him last time against the 49ers. Had a really good game, I believe, maybe a decent game, about 17 or 18 fantasy points. Um, yeah, I like him this week, and I'm also going to say Adrian Peterson. Who do you got, man? Oh, I sniped you. I sniped you. So are you done?
Yeah, you sniped me. So I might be. I might. Well, no. I will say I think you might be able to go with Nick Chubb.
Okay.
I think I don't want to. I won't say a start of the week. I'll go with a flex starter. I think he can be good in your flex against this Steelers defense that has improved definitely in their passing defense. But I think we will see a lot of dosage of Nick Chubb being used in passing and running. He had a great game last week. Don't want to just solely base it off of that, but I think you can see a lot of good moving forward, and I think he can have a good game against the Steelers defense.
Absolutely. Go ahead with your wide receiver.
Wide receiver Tyler Boyd for the Bengals. I already talked about him a little bit earlier, so like I said, I like everybody in that game. The Buccaneers are giving up the second most fantasy points per game to receivers. Said they have a lot of key injuries on their defense, so I think Tyler Boyd can definitely excel in this game.
Yeah. I like Boyd as well. I think that the passing game takes a little bit of a dip though for the Bengals because you have John Ross who's going to be out for a little bit. He stretched the field. He opened some things up underneath. I'm not sure who they're going to bring in his place. Hopefully it's someone who has a similar skill set and can still open up those routes underneath. All right, man. I have Doug Baldwin going up against Detroit Lions. They are giving up 41 points a week versus wide receivers, and they can score points. The Lions have a decent offense, especially now you got Kerryon Johnson coming into his own, so possibly Seattle will have to keep up with them, and I can see Baldwin having a decent week. Not to mention, I was going to mention this earlier in the news and notes, Darius Slay has been limited with a toe injury, and of all things, you don't want a toe injury because that's how you push off and keep up.
Right.
So going
Absolutely.
against Baldwin, he could possibly have a pretty big week. All right. I'll go ahead with my tight end here. Njoku, my boy for the Browns. I like him a lot. He's been coming on as of late. Ever since our guy Mayfield took over, he's been getting a lot of targets, a lot of receptions, having a lot of good games. I think he does well against the Steelers, who do give it up to the tight end position. Uzama for the Bengals had a decent week, had 5 receptions. The week before that, they gave it up to Austin Hooper out of Atlanta. He had 9 receptions in that game.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that pick. I love Njoku.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely think that he could have a really good game against the Steelers. My tight end is Jared Cook.
Absolutely. Yeah.
For the Raiders. The Colts are giving up the 8th most fantasy points to tight ends so far this league. And, I mean, Cooper's gone.
Absolutely.
I know they weren't really necessarily feeding him in the first place, but that just opens it up for Jared
Someone
Cook.
right.
I mean,
right. You have to wonder who's going to take the number. I guess you can't put a number 1 cornerback on Jordy Nelson. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Martavius Bryant probably draws that cover, but seeing the lack of talent in the backfield there, in the wide receiver core there, you would probably say that now Jared Cook and Jalen Richard have to be the beneficiaries here of that Cooper move. So yeah, I'm with you there, man. Definitely.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right. Who's your defense?
Yeah. So a lot of these defenses to me were like super obvious, like your Bears and things of that nature. So I tried to go a little sneaky, and I went with the Steelers.
Oh, wow.
The Steelers defense, I think, can give you a decent game against the Browns. Joe Hayden being back has definitely tremendously boosted the Steelers' pass defense. And I think the Steelers' offense in this game is what's going to help their defense the most. I think their offense is going to be on the field enough, is going to battle against the Browns' defense enough to where the Steelers' defense isn't on the field much at all to give up many points.
Okay, yeah, I like that pick. Not a big Steelers defensive guy. I mean, even though they made a living, playing defense here the last few years, this isn't that same Steelers D. So, but yeah, you guys still got a rookie quarterback back there. Even though Baker Mayfield, I think, is going to come into his own, be a great quarterback for his career. Still a rookie. Got a rookie running back there. Antonio Callaway hasn't been great. You're missing some. You just let go of Carlos Hyde. Yeah. So I like that pick. Good pick. And you didn't snipe me. I think I got by, man. I think I got by this week. I think I'm going to win 1-0, like a nice soccer game here. But I'm going with the Redskins. Man, the Redskins have been surprisingly staunch on defense. Check this out, man. The last 4 weeks, with the exception of the Saints, they've held teams to 17 points or less. 17 points or less, the exception of the Saints, who scored, I believe, 43. So the Redskins have been really good on defense, which is the kind of thing you need for a quarterback like Alex Smith. If you're going to win games, you got to have a decent defense. So I like them this week going up against the Giants and
against Mr. Eli.
Yeah. Good deal. My sit of the week, Greg Olsen. Now, he came through for you last week with a touchdown. So he kind of salvaged his week, but he only had 2 receptions. So until I see it a little bit more out of Greg Olsen, I'm actually going to sit him down. I won't be playing him. And then against the Ravens at that. Now, you did mention the Ravens have some possible injuries in the defensive backfield. That may open it up a little bit more, but let's just say these guys are just limited, resting a little bit, and all come back. I don't see them doing much in the passing game at all. I think this may be a CMC game.
Yeah. That's a tremendous pick. I actually just traded Greg Olsen and Jordan Howard for Tom Brady in one of my leagues. So I usually don't trade for quarterbacks, but even one that I can start on a regular basis. But yeah, I agree. Greg Olsen definitely, I think, is a sit. Last week, actually, didn't have a great game. The touchdown is what gave him his 8 points, and that came at the final seconds of the game. So I agree. I definitely agree with that. My sit of the week, which is going to be very unpopular, is Aaron Rodgers.
You can't. Yeah, you can't sit Aaron Rodgers, man. Here we go. Here we go. All right. First we got Antonio Brown. Now we're sitting Aaron Rodgers. I mean, who's next? St. Todd Gurley. Who's next?
Yeah. No, it's super unpopular. I mean, obviously, if you drafted Aaron Rodgers and you're one of those guys that, took him high, then he's obviously your only quarterback. You're going to start him, and you can't go wrong with that. But as far as me kind of going, what I looked at, for me, I like Dalton better, Winston better, Goff better, Trubisky better, and Big Ben better all this week. I like all of them better than Aaron Rodgers. I just think this defensive line is going to get back to Rodgers. Obviously, he's going to make magic. He's going to make magic happen. He's Aaron Rodgers. I don't think he's going to give you the fantasy points that you're wanting from where you drafted him or from the quarterback position this week. Obviously, it's Aaron Rodgers, so I could be very, very wrong. But, looking at that, he's on my sit of the week for this
Yeah.
week. That's a hot take. You can take
Yeah,
it.
that's a hot take. I'll go ahead and let you know you're wrong now. All right, let's go ahead and move on to my favorite segment. We got to shoot through it, man. We've been going for 70 minutes here.
Yeah.
Want to get the people out of here. I'm sitting him, so you start him. I'll let you start this one off, man.
Yeah, really quick, I'll go out through Trey Burton for me.
Oh, wow.
If Allen Robinson sits, he could have another big game. Just for me personally, the Matt Nagy offense is just way too confusing for me to know who's going to get what on a game-to-game basis.
Wow.
So
You're sitting Burton.
That's my setup.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sitting Burton.
He just came off a 27-point game, and A-Rob is not practicing, possibly won't play. Wow. Okay. Well, I hope you're right because I'm playing him. So I hope I can. I can capitalize off your misfortune. For me, I'm sitting them. So you start him. Keelan Cole, talked about him earlier. Just hasn't been doing it for me. And obviously, as soon as I decide to put him on my bench, he's going to go off for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. So go ahead and take advantage of my misfortune. I'm sitting him, so you start him. I actually have a reverse as well. I'm starting him, so you sit him. Amendola, he's been doing great the last few weeks, and inevitably, as soon as he starts doing good and I put him in my lineup, he's going to take a nosedive just like Mohamed Sanu last week did me. Gave me 6 points and lost my week, man. So Amendola, I'm starting him, so you sit him, and I'm sitting him, so you start him. That's Keelan Cole. Got anything else for the people tonight, man?
Yeah, my second sit him, so you start him, is Doug Martin. They've been talking about using him as a workhorse. I don't want any kind of Doug Martin, but against the Colts, this could be his opportunity to kind of show out. So I'm definitely sitting him. But if you're out there, you're
going 2 for 2 for me, man. I'm starting Doug Martin in one of my leagues because I had Marshawn. I picked up Doug Martin as his handcuff. Surprisingly, was a big league and a big benches, so picked Doug Martin up. So I hope you're right on that one. I can again take advantage of your misfortune. And before we go, man, just in about an hour ago, Matt Breida did not practice again today. Apparently, so this is the second day in a row. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But if he's out, you may get a little run out of Raheem Mostert. So keep that in mind. All right, so we have to get out of here. As per usual, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. It's been a blast tonight. Do you have anything else for the people tonight, Dave?
Enjoy your weekend and enjoy your football. Thanks.
You guys take it easy. We're signing off. Have a good night.